Check 1, 2. Okay, there we go. You're gonna have to forgive me, I'm reading off the screen here. So I would imagine some of you want to get to the point, and in the interest of those who don't want to watch the whole video, I'm just gonna save you some time. I'm gonna be leaving YouTube. Okay, bye! Okay, obviously there's a lot more to it than that. This isn't exactly a final farewell or anything. I'm not throwing in the towel and calling it quits. But there's a bunch of things that I do need to explain to set expectations, as well as let you all know what goes on behind the scenes. If you found this video and you're actually bothering to watch it, chances are that you're familiar with me and you know what I do, and there's still some stuff that I kind of want to put into context, which starts at... So I'm not going to go all the way back to the Brony days, but my comeback came with the Lapis Lazuli medley and the Welcome to the Sisterhood EP. I branched that out, into an underlying theme of what my channel is about. So everything that I do in one way or another ties back to Welcome to the Sisterhood, which is basically the overture to my YouTube channel. With Lapis Lazuli in particular, this was kind of during the whole post-show depression phase of Steven Universe. And it was during lockdown. Okay, so I was fresh out of uni and I was jobless. My life involved waking up right there, looking at my computer right here, playing video games, watching movies, and just waiting for all of this to blow over. All with the lingering thought of having to actually get my life together. Lapis was a great project as I poured my heart and soul into it, not just because of my love for Lapis Lazuli, but also just like there wasn't really anything else to do. It was far less about obsession and more of like, if I'm not working on this, my only other option would be to go outside to the front porch and just kind of like, I don't know, look at birds or something. So that launched my schedule for doing music and writing new songs on a fortnightly schedule, which like at the time, that was perfect for me because all I had was YouTube. I don't even need to really talk about how big Just Friends got, and like that essentially catapulted my channel to new heights, and this was now becoming a job. It was my only source of income, and frankly, it was a lot of fun. This went on not just through the Owl House, but through She-Ra, Amphibia, a bunch of other shows that I filled my time with watching over the lockdown, until 2022, when everything eased up and I was finally employed and I had brand new obligations to fill. Yeah, I started living the adult life. Despite having to slow down to one upload a month, I was still trucking on, writing new songs, playing shows, selling merch, doing collaborations and commissions, and it was all great. Until reality sets in.
Boo-hoo, cry me a river.
Okay, so you've heard 1,000,001 creatives like complain and whine about the dreaded algorithm. It starts to sound like an excuse, and I'd be lying if it wasn't like, sometimes an excuse. But there is definitely a clear contrast of like the reception of some songs and like how popular they get. To prove this, I had a little experiment, which may just be a mask-off moment for the sincerity of this song, but it doesn't distract from how much fun I had with it. So back in 2020, I was very late to the She-Ra party, but managed to garner pretty great success with Sorry and my cover of Warriors. And for the longest time, they proved to be the big breadwinners for the channel. And even if I wasn't doing particularly well in any given month, at least I could rely on those two songs for consistent viewership. I can't thank the She-Ra fans enough for that. However, as the show ended, many talk a big game about, loving a show or a fandom to their dying breath. And if new content came out, they'd come to play. And here's the thing, me too. I love She-Ra a lot, and, absolutely love to come back to it. Extremely proud of ND Stevenson and their success with not only She-Ra, but as well as Nimona getting nominated for Best Animated Picture at the Oscars. That's crazy. So I wrote and released Hero of Our Time, Heodora, as my way of revisiting the show to celebrate the impact the show had on LGBTQ plus kids. Some people discovered their sexuality and gender identity because of this show. And while the song was positively positively received, and the people who listened to it were pretty happy to celebrate the show and come back to it. It currently only sits at 3,000 views.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
To get down to the science of this, my name isn't quite big enough to get the fire going for the algorithm, so I'm relying entirely on the success of She-Ra to get it moving. And unfortunately, as the show ended, so did the general excitement for content, around it. And less people are talking about She-Ra, and YouTube is realizing, this is old news. There's no real reason to promote a new She-Ra video because not many people are talking about it. And don't get me wrong, I totally understand, I get it, but it's a bit of a wake-up call. Obviously my success has been carried by Just Friends and The Owl House, but unfortunately the exact same thing is happening right now with the story having been completed. Less people are talking about The Owl House, and Forever Friends was likely my final farewell to the show, proven by the viewership, which while 20,000 views is nothing to scoff at, I'm very grateful for that, it's still a far cry from how well Just Friends did. And that begs the question, what's next for me? There's some fandoms out there that we can label forever fandoms that will stand the test of time. The way that something like Sonic the Hedgehog will never truly be obsolete. Maybe Has Been Hotel's the same, that's been around for a hot minute. And it's an exciting time right now because Season 1 just came out, Season 2 is coming along the way. Hell of a Boss is still doing really well. Digital Circus is brand new, along with a lot of these other newer independent shows I've not gotten to see. Lackadaisy, I've not seen Lackadaisy yet. I've not seen Murder Drones yet. But the thing is, you have to remember that a lot of my music is extremely personal. It's not that I don't want to bow down to the masses and make something new to fuel the algorithm because this is going to get people on board. Because don't get me wrong, that's a very valid strategy because people will get interested and then they will go, hey, what else has this guy got to offer? This is going to fuel something that I truly want to write. The problem is I kind of can't do that. Writing songs is such a huge undertaking for me, and with everything going on in my life, I simply do not have the time to play that game anymore. I can't. It has to be sincere and as exciting as, when I was doing Beta, or The Isolation Car, or I Don't Want to Be Alone. My strategy has got to be smart going about this. This is going to be an exceptionally difficult section to talk about, so I want to preface it by saying I have nothing but love and respect and admiration for all of my respective scenes, the people I work with, and the people whose paths I crossed. They say no man is an island.
No man is an island.
I am extremely grateful for the crowd I run with. Dream Kiddo, Fate Feather, Jake Neutron, Lily Rabbit Sings, Russell Torres, some utterly fantastic human beings. Shoutouts to OGs Not Again for coming back recently. I think what's difficult is finding a crowd that I can truly relate to. And when it comes to online content creation, there's a weird difference in clout between everyone. I'm either way above or way below a lot of people, which, this shouldn't really even be a thing. This shouldn't be a problem. But the problem is that everyone kind of goes through their own journey and we're all at different stages of it. It's just difficult for me to kind of relate to someone like Jake Neutron, who's now an entire empire, and some of my peers are just flat out better at playing the game, or just genuinely better than me at this whole thing, far exceeding me in success in half the time it took for me to get here. It can get a little discouraging. On the flip side, I've been playing a lot more live shows in Malaysia which involve the local anime scene. I've been able to make friends with folks like Fate Feather, who is an absolute delight to write cool anime powers with, but there's definitely a disconnect I feel when entering the space. In case you haven't noticed, I don't exactly do anime, and the culture in Malaysia is currently revolves around talent to cover songs from anime. Not only do I not do anime, but I'm not particularly a fan of covering songs unless, it's extremely special. So you can tell me there's a crowd interested in original songs, sure. But the audience for shows that I cover, particularly with Western animation, is extremely limited. Often I'll go up on stage and I'll talk about The Owl House and no one in the audience really cares. Well, obviously, there's a whole underlying bag of worms about distribution of some of these shows and culture, and don't get me wrong, there's a big problem with that. I have a strange position in this scene where everyone knows of me and respects me. I don't entirely feel like I'm part of it, or even remember it much, and that's fine. But that's the reality of it. nothing that I can do will really make me fit in, because, you know, if I try to make that effort, I'm gonna lose a part of me, and none of y'all deserve that. I'm not out here trying to make the 69th cover of Gurenge. It's just not my style. I want to write about my feelings towards Luz Noceda and Amity Blight, and what the repercussions of having such a relationship on kids' TV is. I want to put myself out there, and I do see progress and I do see respect on my name, slowly chipping away at it show after show, but it's very tiring and it takes far too much of my time. It's no secret that I've been trying to put a stop to it and limit the number of shows I do, but the business model has always been to put myself out there and say, hey, you know, I write original songs based on Western cartoons and video games, you know, we exist and we're thriving. There's also the question of trying to bridge the gap between everything. Not only am I doing nerdcore in the international scene, but I'm kicking it with the Malaysian scene as well. The underground scene, anime scene. You know, I've had 3 songs break through local mainstream charts. Like, how crazy is that? I love doing it, I want to keep at it, but it's tiring and it's lonely, and I really want to rethink my strategy.
Love life. Yeah, life.
Something people don't want to admit is that music, art in general, is ultimately a business. We may write from the heart, but there's no point in it if you aren't creating a platform for yourself. It's not just about writing the songs, but it's figuring out what you want to write about and who you want to write for. What's going to grab attention, make an attractive enough thumbnail that will catch the eyes of enough people, managing income from that and distributing it carefully to make the next big thing. So hustle culture will tell you that you have to keep at it to see results, and that's proven fairly true for the past 4 years. It's been slow and arduous, but I'm fairly happy with how well things have panned out so far, and it's definitely a lot of hard work. Unfortunately, there's only so much that I can realistically do. You know, I'm a 31-year-old adult who has bills to pay. I have a full-time job that leaves me with little time to devote to getting creative in the evenings. I have another band, Astigmatism, that's fairly actively paying shows. My family still relies on me for things to do. I have friends and relationships I'm trying to keep up, and it's difficult to stay motivated if you aren't at the very least leaving some space for you to kind of just do your own thing. I'm behind on a lot of shows and movies. Final Fantasy VII just came out, which I barely had enough time for. My fitness has taken a nosedive, which I'm trying to turn around. I want to skate a lot more, and ultimately, I just want to get a little bit of my life back. It's definitely possible to do the double life of a game developer by day and rockstar by night, but a few years later you start to realize that your life is kind of going by and you barely had enough time to really enjoy it to the full potential. There's a lot that I really want to do, and some of you might know me from my competitive gaming background, you know, with fighting games, rhythm games, and I very much want to come back to those communities too, which I've neglected since YouTube started. All this tells me is that if music isn't going the way that I want it to, and I'm sacrificing a lot for it, then it's time for me to step back and try to breathe a little so I can get things right. I love doing this. I really do. The problem is that I've been throwing myself at the wall over and over again, and I'm starting to hit a bit of a plateau in terms of my reach as well as my own capability. I could be getting more views, I could be getting more shows, I could be writing better songs, performing it a lot better, all of it. But not if I'm going to be grinding it out until I magically improve in all facets. So let's cut a deal. I want to get my life back. I want to go skating, play video games, hang out with friends, catch some movies. Life goes by so fast when you're busy that before you know it, several of your best years have flown by without you even enjoying them. And I don't want to sacrifice my life either. When I come back, I promise to come back with a clearer mind to make even better music and go even bigger and harder than ever before. What does that entail? Am I still going to be writing songs about the Owl House? Or nerdcore at all? Do I want to bite the bullet and be an anime cover artist like everyone else? Am I gonna try to sign on to a major record label? You know, there's Rise, Fearless, Sharp Tone. I could always send a demo their way. I don't know. Frankly, I have absolutely no idea. I definitely do have some plans that are just kind of like running in the back of my mind, but they're all vague ideas, and I don't want to waste my time contemplating on what they could be. I want to come at this with the right state of mind. I want to stress that this isn't a goodbye. This is an I'll see you later. When am I coming back? Let's just say I'll be back when it makes the most sense. To you, to me, to us all. And to those of you financially supporting me by buying merch, listening to the songs on YouTube and Spotify or anything, I want you to know that this will fuel whatever comes next. Again, I'm not gone forever. I just want to make sure that my next move will truly matter, and every little bit will absolutely help in making that a reality. Music is probably the most important thing to me in my entire life, and if I'm not doing it right, then that's truly a disservice to me and my own happiness first and foremost. For the last time in a while, this is Meelz signing off. Please subscribe and keep the music alive. Listen to me on Spotify, get a shirt. Please stay tuned for the one day that I come back and make it all make sense. It's gonna be amazing, I promise. Take care, everyone, and as a great man once said, have yourselves a damn good one.